Welcome back to the BTS Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, Andrea. Joining me today is Morgan.
Hey, what's up?
The big hit lawyers must have been very busy lately. It looks like they've made a lot of business deals between Big Hit and other big companies, even other record labels, which is a little bit surprising. The first thing they did was Big Hit Entertainment decided to make its first big acquisition since going public in mid-October, and they will inject $63 million into YG Entertainment, the home of Blackpink, Treasure, and Winner. YG Plus is expected to help Big Hit with distribution and merchandise activities, while BenX will open its Weverse social media platform and Weverse shop to YG Acts. So I think this one move, it's going to help YG because I think Big Hit recognizes that YG has a lot of good raw material. They're just not managing it very well. And then they will benefit if YG does well. And then at the same time, they're going to get other acts onto Weverse, and that helps them because that's their platform. And so they can benefit from, more people using it.
Yeah, so they're part owner of YG now, essentially, right?
Yeah, and that's not something I would expect. Like, you think record labels are just it's every man for himself, and it's like, well, I just want us to succeed.
They need a capital infusion.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm sure Big Hit has all sorts of money, and they can...
They're swimming in money right now.
Make some moves.
And maybe YG needs a capital infusion. And the synergy probably makes sense if they want to create, a stronger platform on Weverse and such.
Yeah, I think they're looking to make Weverse really big because they're signing other acts onto it, not just Big Hit labels.
They don't own YG, though. This is just a small percentage of it, right? It's like 17%.
Right. It's a partial share of it.
That's still a good chunk, though. It gives them influence into what happens with YG. You know what this reminds me of, even though this happened a long time ago, so kids don't probably remember this, but there was a time when Apple was just almost a dead company. I know this is a long time ago. Before iPhones and even iPods, it was almost dead. It had been destroyed by PCs. And it was on its very last legs, but Bill Gates from Microsoft, he decided to invest in Apple, and he saved it.
Wow.
And he profited a lot from that because Apple became an even bigger company than Microsoft, market cap-wise. He definitely got rich off that, too.
That's crazy. Does he still own some of Apple?
I don't know.
Oh.
But I'm sure that investment did very well for him.
He benefited.
Yeah. He didn't just give it to them as a favor.
It's like, hey, let me help you out.
He bought into the company, and then the company skyrocketed in the next 10 years. And then 10 years on, it's now one of the biggest companies on earth, market cap-wise.
Like, you wouldn't think of doing that. Like, if you're McDonald's.
Yeah, because they were sort of a quasi-competitor, so it seemed like an illogical move. But there's various reasons. At the time, Microsoft was dealing with antitrust issues, and so it was convenient or beneficial for them to have a quote-unquote competitor.
Right.
That survive. Like if Apple just went away, then maybe these antitrust issues or lawsuits would have more traction. I don't know. Or maybe he just believed in his friend Steve Jobs. I say that sarcastically because they're not friends.
Oh yeah, if you watch a TV movie, they were not friends.
Yeah, this is ancient history, but basically Bill Gates, the former richest man on earth, he stole like an operating system from Apple and just rebranded it. It's what you call Microsoft Windows today. Mm-hmm. And it made him the richest man on earth. He would still be the richest man on earth, by the way, if he didn't give away a bunch of his money. If he just let money do money's thing, which is to multiply, he would be richer than Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, for sure.
Right. He just
gave away a lot of his money.
Very philanthropic.
Yeah, he'd easily be worth like $300 billion today. Who knows how much money he made from the Apple thing? I don't know. But anyway, he kept Apple afloat when it was near death. And then look at Apple now. I don't know there's no point. I'm not trying to say that YG will become Apple or something. But, and also there's no antitrust issue, obviously, with Big Hit.
I think it's just another diversifying move.
I think that they want to create a stronger K-pop platform.
Yeah.
And YG has a lot of strong acts. And they do seem to be mismanaging them to some extent.
And they don't have a platform.
Yeah, they just seem to not be doing, they're not maximizing their assets. So it's a good relationship that they're forging here.
Because before Weverse, it was like all the groups had their own separate fan cafes, and then now they're going away with that because those were just Korea-centric So they're trying to.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, it's like Blackpink and the YG groups. They don't have a place where they are. I think they're mostly on Instagram and just like places like that. But it's probably better to be on Weverse because people are used to going there anyway for other groups that they're fans of. So maybe it's good to have that one central location, and YG groups can be part of it too. And in another move, Naver Corporation said that it's going to invest $319 million into BenX, and BenX was the company that invented Weverse. So Naver, from what I understand, they're kind of like Google or kind of like Yahoo, but in Korea. They're like a search engine, but then they also have like homepage articles about everything, like just general news. So they're going to have a stake in Weverse.
Mm.
So I don't know what that would do, but maybe, Naver wants to be a part of that. They think Weverse is going to be a big thing too. And I don't know how they make money. I guess from their page gets a lot of views because it's just a generic search engine page.
They serve ads.
Yeah, that's true. And
they sell your user information.
Yeah, they have.
That's what they all do.
That makes sense.
How do you think any of them, they all serve ads and sell your user information?
It's all information.
Yeah.
So yeah, they must recognize that. Wow, BenX has a lot of data with Weverse, so let's be part of that. So I think that's another sign that everybody wants to be part of Weverse. They know that's a huge thing that's growing. Even though it just seems like it's just a page that K-pop acts post their videos and posts and stuff, and fans can all post in one place. It doesn't seem like a crazy concept or anything, but I mean, it's something that's successful. Okay, so speaking of Naver is in charge of VLive, which I didn't even know that until now, but they own VLive and they're joining with Weverse. So Naver will be transferring its VLive business to BenX, and they're going to be investing $321 million into BenX. And then BenX is going to be renamed Weverse because that's what they invented. So they're just going to change their whole name to Weverse. And this is really confusing. But it sounds like VLive and Weverse are going to be related. And I guess you would use VLive for live stuff and then Weverse for everything else, like posts and stuff like that. And I had thought VLive was starting to not be favored by the K-pop groups because they were trying to use YouTube more and do anything live on YouTube. But it kind of sounds like that was an experiment and then maybe it didn't work out and they decided okay, maybe VLive is a better thing to use, and then that's why there's this deal with Naver now. Because remember BTS was using YouTube Live a couple of times before the B album came out, last summer. They were going live on that a lot. And so I don't know if on YouTube maybe that didn't work out or didn't get the numbers they were looking for, or maybe it was just more of a better deal they could do with VLive, and it's something they're familiar with anyway.
Yeah, it's all business stuff. I'm sure it's fine. You'll watch them somewhere, right? Everybody has access to all the things that you watch them on. It won't affect your quality of life any.
Yeah, that's true. This is probably just more
This is all for the businessmen.
Things we're familiar with, and
this is all for the people behind the scenes who run the business, okay?
It's just money that changed hands. That's basically...
It's not just that, but then it has no impact on you as a fan.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we won't see anything different. Just they'll go back to using VLive more like before. And then, the last piece of news, Big Hit, Naver, and YG, they're all working together on building a concert venue in Ujeongbu Rhythm City, which is a developing new city complex. So they're going to create a state-of-the-art stadium where groups can perform, and it can have YouTube streaming and on live streaming concerts and stuff like that. And it'll be exactly to their specifications. So that I think is a really good idea because private ownership of a stadium for concerts.
A stadium? How many people can be in there? What are you talking about, stadium?
Let's see how many. I don't know if they've decided that yet, but 22,000 square meters plot of land, and they're gonna build shopping areas around that. So it's probably gonna be a pretty big place.
Uh-huh.
But if you own a stadium and okay, your groups are only going to use it some of the time, and this is this Big Hit, Naver, and YG. It's like, those groups aren't going to use it constantly. Other groups will want to use it, and it's like, okay, well, then you got to pay the fee to use it. So I think that's a good idea, and it can have like, maybe you have sports there and like other things, like not just K-pop, and since if you own that stadium, you can charge people for the use of it. So I think that's like another good idea for Big Hit, because it doesn't require artists to do like more things. It's just like a side thing, basically. It's like you're a landlord of a place.
Yeah, if you own a stadium, you can rent it out. Of course you rent it out. I'm reading this article. What does it cost? Does it say it costs like 300 million? I think I read somewhere.
Let's see. I didn't see any numbers of how much it costs. Just it's like those were the three involved, and I guess I'm sure Naver wants to be involved. They can have like, media benefits from that.
Well, if it costs 300 million, my only comment is that is extremely cheap. You don't build a thing in America for under $1 billion these days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, any stadium or venue costs $1 billion these days. I don't know how they're doing it so cheap. Maybe the Koreans are just more efficient or something, because 300 million is peanuts for a whole stadium complex.
How much did like SoFi Stadium cost?
$2 billion?
Oh, wow.
That's not necessarily a fair comparison, because that's a football stadium, so it's bigger, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe this place isn't meant to be gigantic. It's just meant to be like,
But 300 million's cheap.
Good sized.
Well, good deal. Maybe they just, I don't know, maybe there's corruption whenever Americans build a stadium. Maybe that's why it costs so much.
Maybe it's...
I don't know. I'm not part of stadium building.
They got to use union.
Anytime
crews.
lots of money changes hands, there's bound to be some kind of corruption or kickback.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, that stadium, SoFi costs like $2 billion. I'm pretty sure. Even off the top of my head, I know. That's an expensive one. That's more than average, though. I think average is maybe $1 billion. So 300 million, they're getting on the cheap. I'm sure it's good. It'll do the job for them.
I've never heard of record labels building their own stadium, though. That's pretty different. I know privately owned sports teams sometimes build their own stadium, and
that's rare. That's rare.
Yeah.
Usually the municipality builds it.
Yeah, that's very outside the box, and we'll see how that works out. Okay, the next story, there's a controversy with GFriend, who I don't know a ton about. All I know is they are now under Big Hit labels because they acquired their labels, which is Source Music. On January 31st, Soo Man from GFriend uploaded and then quickly deleted a set of photos taken with a mannequin. The plastic statue has been identified as a Nazi soldier based on the military garments and the insignia. Although they quickly took down the photos, people already saw them, and then they started to share them on all social media platforms and heightened the controversy. And basically, she was just posing with the mannequin, like pretending it's a person and like kind of hugging him and stuff like that. And people were very offended because, oh, it's a Nazi soldier. You shouldn't act like that, or, you're making light of the whole Holocaust and what Nazis did in World War II and making it humorous. So, yeah, people were very offended by that. This is a cafe that's in Korea somewhere that's just German themed, I'm guessing. I guess that's why they have...
A lot of Asians like Germans. I don't know if you know that.
No, I wasn't aware. That's something that they're interested in.
Are you, like, there's a TV show. What is it called? There's an anime. Attack on Titan. It has really strong, like, undertones of Germanic. Not Nazis, but Germanic, society. The way they dress, the names. That's a Japanese show, though. This is Korean. So it's not exactly the same thing or anything.
Right.
So what was it? I mean, I'm looking at the pictures. It's just hugging a mannequin.
Yeah.
And people were offended because it was identified as a Nazi soldier.
Yes.
First of all, that's not correct. This is a German soldier. That's not the same thing. Not every soldier who fought for Germany was a Nazi, correct? People accept that, right?
Right.
Some people who fought for the German army were just, okay, well, I'm German, so now I'm fighting for the Germans.
They were one political party.
And like there were parts of the German military that were like more under control of the Nazi party, like the SS. And these were the people who conducted, for the most part, the Holocaust, etc. But there were a lot of German military who just did regular military things like, fighting World War II. Those people are not necessarily Nazis. Those people did not necessarily participate in the Holocaust. That's not the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
This would be like saying, well, marrying a German person is racist. What? All German people are racist? Like, well, saying anything good about a German person who was alive in 1945 is racist. Like, all of them? No, I don't think that's not reasonable.
Yeah, I didn't see...
This is a person wearing a German uniform.
He
as far
didn't
as I
have
can
the
tell.
red armband or the swastika or anything.
He has a German military uniform.
He just
on.
has the dark green outfit.
And also, he doesn't look German. He looks quite Asian. That's odd. I don't think... She's just like posting funny pictures. I'm difficult to offend. And I don't know how many people are offended by this. So, as usual, I take the side of people who are not offended. Or were they making a joke about it? They were making... It's her posing with a German soldier. Mannequin.
Yeah, and pretending it's like
Is that making fun of the
guy.
Holocaust? A German soldier does not equal Holocaust. This just shows the ignorance of the average person on Twitter, I think. You know what? And the average person on Twitter, let me highlight their ignorance. They probably think that Che Guevara is like an excellent human being. He's like one of the revolutionaries. You know that guy? You know the guy in the image that people always like post?
Mm-hmm.
Some people even get tattoos of him.
With the beret.
Yes. That guy is considered like a revolutionary, and he like fought for the people or whatever. He killed gay people. He enjoyed killing people. He just like tortured people. He's not a nice person. I think that in the lens of 2020, you probably say, well, yeah, he committed some war crimes. It's never mentioned. I bet you that half of the people posting how offended they are for over this picture think that guy's just fine. Why? Because they're just ignorant. Mm-hmm. Just like they're ignorant about what they're looking at, whether this is a Nazi uniform or whether this is a German military uniform. It's ignorance.
And I think the fact that this cafe just has all this stuff out there is that GFriend's fault. Like, if it's a cafe that's like open for business or whatever, then why would they think it's anything to be concerned about or to be really careful about? They just think, well, this is a cafe. It's like, it's whatever. It's German cafe. How would they know that that's anything bad? And I guess they were filming some kind of video there, and that was the theme of the place.
If you want to feel some kind of way about it, you're free to. I don't agree with people's assessment of what is actually going on. They think that they're making a joke about the Holocaust. I think they're making a joke about standing next to a mannequin dressed in a German military uniform. Yeah. Because that's what actually is happening.
I think that's all it was. That's all that was intended by that.
What else did she do? Did she say something about killing all the Jews? What did she say?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure GFriend is not... She
just posted a picture, right?
I'm pretty sure GFriend is not pro-Holocaust.
I'm not saying that, you should forgive them because they're ignorant. I don't know. I'm not going to assume these girls are ignorant. They probably took some history classes. They know what happened in World War II. Okay. But the people who are so hyper offended and claim this is a Nazi uniform, maybe they should brush up on their history, because it doesn't seem like they quite know what happened in World War II. They don't seem to understand a distinction between people who are members of the Nazi party and believers in their mission and people who are enlisted in the German military. Those are not exactly the same people. That's like saying that everybody in the U.S. military supports Donald Trump.
No, I was going to say, it's like...
That's not true. Some of them, maybe.
It's like if you're saying anyone Muslim, you're Al-Qaeda or you're ISIS.
They're in the U.S. military. Who's the leader? Don't they support him? Some of them do. Some of them don't. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, but you're wearing the uniform. It's like, okay, that's just the uniform they hand out. Does every single member of the U.S. military support whoever's president at the time?
No.
You see how stupid this is, right? It's just ridiculous. You're just showing your ignorance. No, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean what you think it means. So, I don't know. Whatever.
And Source Music apologized. They said, we apologize for not checking in advance about the props at the shooting site, and we didn't inspect everything during filming and didn't pay close attention to historical facts and social issues, and we'll do better checking all of that in the future. And so they apologize.
They shouldn't even apologize. You know who's not paying attention to historical facts? People complaining. The people complaining.
And I think for Koreans, it's more of a time in history that's like, you see it in textbooks. But it's not like how we see it in America. And like, I'm sure they're aware of events in World War II. But here in America, it's like there's talk about the Holocaust all the time. Like, there's many TV shows. There's a lot of movies made. There's books. People are talking about it a lot. And like there was a time where like in the Oscars, there was like an Oscar contending movie that was about the Holocaust for like many years in a row. So it's like it's a topic that's in Americans' radar a lot because it's always talked about. I'm pretty sure this is not talked about a lot in Korea. Like for them, they see that uniform and it's like, oh, that's German. They don't necessarily think Nazi automatically.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, as is usual, people on Twitter just showing their ignorance doesn't indicate anything that they think it indicates. Yeah, I'm done with them.
Yeah, and it's like they want Showan personally to apologize. It's like, well, she didn't put the mannequin there. She didn't say I hate Jews.
She posed in a picture with it.
She didn't say anything crazy.
No.
And it's like, no, we want her canceled. It's like, oh, calm down. She didn't even know that was something that people were going to be offended by.
Bet you anything, half of the people posting how upset they are couldn't identify Poland on a map without Googling it. I'll leave it there.
So Blackpink had their first online concert. I didn't know that was their first. Wow.
I mean, most people before this year had concerts, regular concerts, live. So that's not that weird.
Yeah,
right?
Well, I don't know. For some reason, I thought they had one earlier.
No.
Like in 2020 that was online, but maybe I'm probably thinking of somebody else. So yeah, that was their first online concert on January 30th called The Show. And they said it got 280,000 viewers, and it was broadcast on YouTube Music, and sounds like they think it made at least $10 million. So that sounds pretty good for like one concert.
Not bad at all.
And I watched it. It was pretty good.
I watched most of it.
It was not that long. That was the only thing I was surprised about because I've watched some of the other...
Because the BTS ones are super long.
Yeah, I'm used to like 2 or 3 hours, and theirs seemed like an hour 10 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was expecting more, but you know, that's what they gave you. And I did think it was pretty good. They sang live the whole time, and they had really good outfits, and they had a lot of like dancers, and the notable part of it was their solos. So they all had some different solos. Jisoo performed Tovlo's Habits, a cover song, so that was good. And Jennie did a remix of Solo, and it sounded like she added like some extra rap to it and like an extra dance break, so that was pretty good. I mean, I already liked that song anyway, so that was good. And Lisa performed Doja Cat's Say So, and I don't know why, but for some reason I was expecting her to just do a dance and not sing, but she sang also, and it was really good because she didn't just do the song exactly. She added her own rap section, so she like wrote her own verse to that.
Okay.
So that was pretty good. And of course we all know Rosé did her new solo song Gone, which I thought that song was really good. And I'm like shocked I know she wrote it, but I was like, well, she must have had like other songwriters too because it was such a good song. But I looked on the credits and it only listed her. So I was like, wow, that was really good. And the song, it kind of reminded me of Katy Perry, Teenage Dream kind of era. It was like nostalgic. It just gets you in your feels, as they say.
I think that it's similar to Stay. It's acoustic, and she was playing guitar in that song too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right up that alley. I think it's perfect for her. Yeah, I agreed. I like that song. It's good for a solo.
Yeah, I really like that side of Blackpink. I don't know if it's mostly the Rosé influence, but I really like when they do like acoustic and ballad kind of songs. Like they're really good at that. And yeah, Rosé, she sounded great. And so I was impressed by her solo. I wonder if it was a good idea though for that to be the first time that she performed it, because I think they did that for like strategy reasons. They said to sell more tickets to it. They're like, well, Rosé's going to sing this and you've never heard it before, so that probably got some more sales. But then, you know, that could be at the expense of whenever her album or I don't know if it's going to be called a mixtape or an album or whatever, but whenever that comes out, maybe people are going to be less excited about it because they've heard it already. But then they did say that was the B-side, so whatever the title track is, that'll be what they're going to want to hear then. That'll be the selling point of it. But do you agree with that strategy that
I agree with
did?
it. Okay. Why not? They got to sell this concert somehow, right? You have to make it different and special. I think it was a good concert. I have to say though, Jisoo's not good at singing. She's just not a good singer. I think we have to accept that. She's just does not have the chops to sing very well. And another thing that makes me laugh is that she sang a song about getting high. Do they not understand what that song means in Korea?
Oh, maybe not. They're like, this song sounds good.
It's about getting high. I don't know. Well, I mean, they speak. A lot of people in Korea speak good English.
Well, I didn't even know that. I have heard that song before. I don't think I.
She says the word "get high" all the time.
Oh, okay. Maybe they thought
constantly
get high on love.
I guess you could interpret it that way.
But for them listening to it, maybe they don't really know what it's saying. It's like, well, that song sounds good as far as notes and stuff. Like when we listen to it.
I don't think she has the ability to sing that song, unfortunately. I think that yeah, I like her, but I think more and more she's just proving that she's the visual of the group and nothing more. Can't carry a song by herself.
But they're having her sing more now, I think, because there's a very vocal group.
That's a mistake.
The vocal group of Jisoo.
I'm sure there are, but
stands.
Well,
you know?
I mean, I apologize to you if you're a stan of hers. I mean, no, there's nothing wrong with standing her, but you should probably accept that her vocal talent is not the best. That's all. Like, I'm pretty sure that Lisa sings better than her, even though she's a quote-unquote rapper, you know?
Right.
It's okay. This is how K-pop groups are. Some people are the visual, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's what she is.
I mean, they don't have to use everybody equally. They can.
I don't think so.
Just use
I don't think that's
people for their strengths, you know?
I don't think that's required.
Yeah.
No. It was a good concert. Rosé's single, excellent. Fits her perfectly. Lisa also, always strong as always, proving she's a star. I think she'd probably go solo. No, when they're 7 years or up, they're going to be renewed, for sure.
Yeah, YG would want to keep them.
They're going to be renewed. But if she had to go solo, she could.
They should give them all more solos. Like, I don't understand why it's taken so long for everybody to get... It's like one song. Like,
everybody's not even gotten one.
Yeah, Jennie had one song, and then now it's like a year later. And it's like other groups, they're... like Suga, he had a whole album of songs.
That's fine.
I mean, he did write a bunch of them, so maybe that's why. But and I also found out that As If It's Your Last was originally a 2NE1 song.
I'm not shocked. What I am shocked is that they rejected it.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's such a good song. Maybe that's why I like it, because it's somewhat throwback. Although I didn't know that.
I don't feel that it's throwback.
I didn't know that at the time because I just started liking K-pop then.
I think it doesn't fit 2NE1.
You think that's...
we keep pronouncing it 2NE1, but it's 21, really. It doesn't fit them. They have a harder edge, right?
Right. I think of them as...
They don't have a playfulness that Blackpink does.
More rappy.
Yeah, Blackpink has that playfulness, which I think that fits this song perfectly. So it doesn't suit them as well. So I think that it worked out. This song should be a Blackpink song, and it is.
Sometimes a song ends up where it's supposed to be.
Sometimes. Yes.
But yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh, that made it sound like, oh, they rejected it, like it's a reject song. But it's like, no, maybe it just fits this other group of people better.
I'd say it fits Blackpink better.
Yeah, I think it's perfect for them. And that's why.
And it's still one of my favorite songs. Probably my favorite Blackpink song.
Yeah, me too. It probably has the most plays if I look on if I knew on my Spotify. But yeah, that was just an interesting fact I found out this week, and they performed that at the concert too, and it was good. It was like near the end, so that means they consider it one of their best songs. So we're talking about girl groups. So Forbes came out with an article where they projected which girl groups are going to be the top ones to break out in 2021 in America. So they're saying that, okay, up until this point, it's mostly been the male groups like BTS and Super M. I don't know why they said Super M, but yeah, I
I
guess.
don't know why. It's just BTS essentially.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they are here, but yeah, as far as breaking out, I would say yeah, BTS definitely did that in America, and that okay, now female groups are due.
Mm-hmm.
So first they said ITZY, and I agree with that. I think ITZY is very.
Is it an order?
Western
or is it
friendly.
just a list?
No, it's just a list.
Mm-hmm.
ITZY, I agree with that. They are definitely very friendly to the Western audiences, and their songs are very pop, Western sounding. And should I just list all of them?
Yeah.
So it's ITZY, and then Twice, and Luna, G Idol, and Red Velvet. So that's who they think.
Who they think? If the list is too long, it only needs one entry. It's going to be ITZY if it's going to be anything.
Yeah.
These other groups are not going to cross over.
I was thinking that
It's not.
was the best chance, is ITZY.
I mean, if you look at the formula, we know that, well, we see that Blackpink is the only group that's crossed over so far. Which of these groups is most like Blackpink? ITZY.
ITZY, for sure.
They have the sound, they have the sort of Western, right? They have one person who speaks English very well.
Yeah.
It's going to be them. Well, I mean, some of these other groups have people who speak English very well, like Red Velvet. But they're more K-pop. Whereas ITZY, it just feels like they could very easily cross over. Even their sound, even right now, it doesn't feel very it just feels global.
Yeah, they feel pop to me.
Yeah, so it's gonna be ITZY for sure. If anyone, I'm not sure it'll be them, but if it is anyone, it'll be them. They just have that same formula, and I think that American audiences, Western audiences will love them. They already do to an extent, but they haven't broken out in the same way Blackpink have. Mm-hmm. They just need I would say that their music needs a harder edge, like Blackpink's music, because that's what appeals here. It's still a little too bubblegum pop. It'll cross over here with maybe young girls, but then that's not broad enough to truly cross over. It has to be Blackpink, where it appeals to just a wide variety of people. But it's going to be ITZY.
Maybe they need to do a collab with somebody like in America who's like, like Lady Gaga, but not exactly that, because
yeah, that would work.
Blackpink already did that, but collab with somebody so that someone who's a little edgier,
right.
And then it'll give them that.
It's not going to be Luna. It's not going to be G Idol. Their companies don't have the resources. It's not going to be Red Velvet. FM, if they're going to push anybody, probably be aespa. Okay, and I don't think it's Twice. I mentioned the problems with Twice before. They don't sound right singing Western type songs half the time. A couple times they sound fine. They sounded fine, but it doesn't sound right. And there's the English speaking hurdle, which I'm sorry to keep going back to, but it's going to be an issue for them.
You definitely need that in interviews, because that's going to be where you get on.
Yeah, and ITZY has that down. So it's going to be ITZY.
Even though it seems like ITZY just has one English speaker. Like
that's enough. That's all you need.
Do you think that's enough?
How many do you need? How many English speakers BTS have?
And Leah's not the leader either.
So? She can speak during the interviews.
Yeah. Well, isn't that weird if it's not the leader
who
speaks
it's not.
The English?
Mm-mm. She can just speak during the English interviews. No big deal.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I guess, remember Jackson Wang, he's not the leader of GOT7, but he's one of the...
I don't know. Who is?
He's one of the
I don't
English...
even know.
I don't know, actually. But I know he's not the leader, but he's one of their English speakers. And he knows, like, multiple...
Well, Mark speaks perfect English. Isn't he from Chicago or something? He's American.
Right.
He's more American than Jackson, actually. Jackson's from Hong Kong, even though he speaks very good English. But I think Mark...
Is he the leader?
No, I'm pretty sure he's not.
Okay, well,
I believe he grew up in the United States.
I guess there's precedent then for non-leaders to be the English speakers.
Absolutely. I do know that Mark grew up in the U.S. That I'm almost certain of. And his English is native.
Oh, and that's why after GOT7 was not signed, that's why he's going back to America then. That makes sense.
He's from the U.S. Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't know that. I don't know all the GOT7 people.
Nor do I. I know like 5 of them. 4, maybe. No, maybe 3. But it's going to be ITZY, if anyone. And I hope it happens, because America needs to broadly embrace more K-pop.
I definitely don't think it's Luna. Like, I don't know why they're on
I don't
this
even like
list.
Luna. Sorry to any Luna fans. I don't even like Luna.
I don't see them as crossover at all.
No.
And maybe they have some English speakers. I don't know, but doesn't seem like they're working on
It's not going to be Luna.
getting into
Not big
Western markets. Yeah. And G Idol,
Not big enough. Not big enough.
yeah, I don't see them
Like, they
having...
need company support.
They're not a big enough presence, I don't think. They are involved in KDA, but I don't think they're getting a lot of recognition for that.
No.
Because people just think of like, oh, KDA. They don't think G Idol, you know, even though it has like a couple people from G Idol in it.
Yep.
SM Entertainment's founder Soo Man stated on a recent program called Monthly Connect that K-pop will have its second revival in China. It's an era when we have to go to China to produce and create content that can become #1 in the world with the talented individuals there. So he thinks K-pop should try to go to China again, even though they tried that.
What do you mean again?
Well, supposedly he was trying to bring it there at an earlier time, like in the 2000s or something.
He was trying to bring it to America in 2002. He's everywhere, this guy.
But I think China was his first choice.
Hmm.
And so he's saying China must open their doors to Korea once again. All of the talented Korean producers, including JYP and Big Hit's Bang PD, should enter the Chinese market to create Asia's Hollywood. And I'm like, why do you have to bring up these other people? It's like, it sounds like you want to get into China and you can't do it on your own. So it's like, well, let me create this movement and hey, let's all do it. And I mean,
let's be serious. Does he think the other guys don't realize there's a gigantic market called China sitting there? Of course they realize it.
It's like they're in business too. They're aware of it.
Of course they are.
If they're not doing it, it's because they don't want to.
And they want to. They're cultivating Chinese members and things like that. I think SM may be doing more of it. Like SM has tons of Chinese members. And when you talk about like there's Chinese members in NCT, there's Chinese members in aespa.
Yeah.
Right? JYP doesn't have a single mainland China artist as far as I guess Jackson Wang counts. But he probably would in private would consider himself Hong Kong.
Right.
Okay? But he doesn't have a single mainland besides him, a mainland China artist, right?
Right.
Whereas SM does, and I don't know about Big Hit. I don't know what they had. I don't think so. Okay. He's right. He's right. It's a big market. People there have money. You always go. You bring the product to where the people with money and the consumers they can buy your product. That just makes business sense. But I would caution. I would not even caution because it's not like you shouldn't do business there. I'm not saying that. You should. You run a corporate. These are all publicly traded companies. You can buy stock in each of these three companies, meaning you have a responsibility to the shareholders of the company to grow the company. That's literally your responsibility as a person who's running the company. You cannot ignore the largest market in your backyard and say that you are fulfilling your responsibility to the shareholders of your company. So yeah, go do business there. That's obvious. I'm sure it's not news to the other guys either.
I think out of the three, SM is trying the hardest.
They are, but I'm sure the others are thinking about it too, right? They have something in the works. But I would just caution you because there's downsides with getting in bed with China so much. Like look at in America with the NBA, and like they have had a lot of controversy with like people were like there was one executive who said something like I stand with Hong Kong, and then China boycotted the NBA for a year.
Yeah,
and it cost them a lot of money.
You can't speak out against China if you disagree with something anywhere in the country.
Yeah,
you can't say anything.
One person who doesn't represent the entire NBA by any means said something they didn't like and they boycotted it. This is the type of thing that you're going to have to deal with, right? And think about when JYP and Zuyu, when she had to make an apology because she said, remember of Twice, she said, what did she say?
She didn't say anything.
She didn't say anything.
She had a flag.
Did she have a flag? Was that, as I understand it...
All she did was hold up a Taiwan flag.
Oh, as I understand it, was that what happened? As I understand, she was on a TV show. Maybe these are separate incidents. She was on a TV show and somebody asked her, where are you from? And she just said, I'm from Taiwan. I'm Taiwanese.
She didn't say China.
Correct.
Like that was the wrong answer.
I'm from Taiwan. I'm Taiwanese. Right? That is incorrect in the eyes of many people in China. I won't say most. Probably it is most, but... The mere fact of saying that I'm from this place and saying Taiwan offends them because they don't think Taiwan exists. They think that is China. So you saying I'm from a place called Taiwan is offensive to them. And it required an apology on her part. Does anybody, I mean, let's just like take a step back. Does anyone think like a 17-year-old girl should be like crying and on camera apologizing for saying I'm from Taiwan when she grew up there? And when she grew, let's be real, when she grew up there, it was called Taiwan. That's what she knows it as.
Yeah.
And maybe she doesn't know the political significance of just saying I'm from Taiwan. Okay, lesson learned. But this is the type of thing you have to go through.
That's why I think...
Does anyone think that's pleasant? Does anyone think that's nice? No, it's...
That's why I think it was shady of Soo Man to name these other producers, because I don't think JYP really wants to go into China. Because he got burned
I think he does.
No, I think he doesn't like incidents like that. And
no, I think he still likes the money, though.
Dealing with scandal.
I think he's going there carefully. You cannot be, like I said before, you cannot be responsible to your shareholders and just say, well, we're not going to go into that large market. It's the largest market in your backyard. You have to deal with it. You have to try to capitalize on it somehow. But it's fraught with pitfalls and dangers as well, is what I'm trying to say. It's not as clean as, oh yeah, let's just go there. It's not like America, where you just go there, hope people like you. If they do, you make money. Boom, the end. Right? What are the downsides? Pretty much none. Right? If you're popular in America, you just make more money. And what are the downsides? Pretty much none. You just make more money.
I think in America, all you have to do is you gotta fight the language differences, and then you have to fight for radio airplay. Like whatever the system is.
Yeah.
Try to get into that.
These are small hurdles.
But China, it's like you have to worry about the entire country coming down on you for some minor offense.
It's a more difficult, sticky situation. That's not to say that they are or should be ignoring that market. Of course they shouldn't be. It's a huge market. Remember, they have a responsibility to the shareholders to maximize their profits, and in order to do that, they probably should look at China. Now, why is he asking them? I'm not sure. It's not like they're dumb. It's not like they don't know. I'm not sure. It might be just kind of like his way of boasting that he's there first or in a more robust way than they are.
I'm the one leading us.
I'm the one leading this charge.
China.
Like, look at how many straight up Chinese members there are in my company, right?
Right.
And that's true. SM has way more Chinese members. And that is a good thing for their bottom line, I'm sure. It comes with downsides too.
I think that's why JYP and Big Hit haven't done as much as SM, because yes, there's an upside, there's a potential for a lot of money, but I think there's just a lot more negatives to deal with, and it's just a lot more trouble to deal with China and all their censorship and all their things they're offended by and all their requirements, and it's like, don't say this or that.
There's a lot.
But there's many other countries out there that are easier to deal with that are growing too. Like you could go to India, you go to South America, you go to the Middle East. Like these places have money too.
Yeah, but I don't agree that the downsides outweigh the positive, because the positive is such a large market. There's a massive amount of money to be made there for any company that can get a foothold. That amount of money is just too compelling. So I'm almost certain that the other companies have plans to do it.
I just don't know how you would do it, because you can have
just do like Soo Man, just do like SM. He has Chinese members in his groups. Every single group has a Chinese member, practically, right?
Yeah, but then they consider that you're still in a K-pop group. Like they're not gonna stand the group just because there's a Chinese member in it. Like they like that one person, but they're not.
That's enough. That's enough.
They're not gonna love the whole group.
No, that's enough. That's enough. I think that's totally enough.
Because I think China, another issue is that they said Hallyu there's a ban on it since 2016. And I don't know what they mean by ban exactly, like, oh, you can't tour in there or whatever, but I think the purpose of that is to promote Chinese artists. So I just feel like they're still in that mindset of protectionism.
Well, then you just have to, and this is a typical thing of the Chinese economic I won't go into it here, but they have a very protectionist economic policy. They do a lot of stuff like this.
Because I think they still view a K-pop group that has a Chinese member in it as still K-pop. Yeah. Like they're gonna say that's not Chinese.
They don't want Korean companies to dominate their music scene. Yeah. So they'll just ban it. That's the kind of country we're talking about here. They'll just ban it, right?
So like number one, Soo Man, you got to get that band taken away.
I mean, think about that for a second. If you're in another country, maybe America, just imagine for a second if your government said, "Hey, I know you like this Blackpink thing, but they can't tour here." And then you ask them why. It's like, we need you to patronize Taylor Swift because she's American. What the hell? Imagine if your government said that.
Right.
That's crazy. Why can't I watch a Blackpink concert here? Well, it takes money away from Taylor Swift. It's like, Taylor Swift's rich. What the hell are you talking about? Who cares?
And it's like, I'll buy a ticket to both, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just
I was like, why do we need
see what happens?
Why do we need to prop up Taylor Swift? And she gets like plenty of business anyway. But this is sort of what's going on there. And there's a lot of, it's a headache to do business in that country. But again, it's lucrative. So people, they've got to try. And they all know that. I think that Soo Man is just bragging, I think.
I think he's like trying too hard a little bit. It's like, I'm a visionary. It's like, we're going to go into China.
And then once everybody goes there, inevitably, he'll say, yeah, I was the one who laid that groundwork. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's so obvious that we should go into China. It's not like you're a genius or something.
It's like, everybody knows that. That's why the U.S. tech companies are all trying to get into there, and everybody else has their factories there. It's like, we know that.
You're not a genius and you figured something out before everybody else. Right? It's like you're a restaurant or a food truck or something. It's like, you know what? Maybe we should sell food during lunch period. Like, yeah, that's when people are buying food. So, yeah, you should probably sell food at that time. You're not a genius. You haven't figured out some secret or something like that. Yeah, China's gigantic. It's a massive market. And it's in your back door. And they're also East Asian, right? So even though not all East Asians, you know, they're not buddy-buddy. Like, East Asians have their own antipathies and they're not just like, yay, cool, we're the East Asian club. They don't think that way. But they certainly view other East Asians better than they view, you know, people who are much different. Mm-hmm. So it's easier for somebody from South Korea to break into China probably than someone from, let's say, Africa or something.
Yeah, if it's going to be anybody, it probably would be South Korea.
Yeah, they probably would have an easier time of it. So yeah, this is what they should be looking into. But everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. He's just the one that's been doing it more.
Well, and some people, like fans online, they were saying, well, he just wants everybody to start focusing on China because SM isn't doing that well in the Western markets the way, you know, JYP and Big Hit are. So he's trying to...
Oh, he's trying to say that, no, this is the path.
It's like, this is the future.
Oh, maybe. And then when he makes a bunch of money there, he'll say, see, I don't need to be successful in America anyway. Maybe. But you know he wants to be successful everywhere. That could be. I don't know. I don't know what his motivations are.
Has anyone ever made a K-pop group that has just all Chinese members in it?
Yeah, Wavy.
Oh, they're all Chinese?
Aren't they? Maybe you should double check that. I'm pretty sure Wavy is all Chinese.
Well, I was going to say, maybe that would be the way to do it if it's like...
Isn't it?
More than 50% of a group is Chinese. Then it's like, it will seem very Chinese to them.
Yeah, I'm not even that familiar with it, but I'm pretty sure because the one song that I listened to from Wavy, it's in Mandarin.
Oh, maybe if
so I figure they're Chinese.
If they have songs in Mandarin, then China should be open to that. Then
I don't know if they are, but you know, common sense would dictate to me that this should be okay.
I think Soo Man, what he needs to do if he wants this to happen, he needs to know who's in the government in China that he needs to bribe, because I think that's the only way that this is going to change. Because that's what happens in China. It's like, you got to know the right people, you got to have money, and it's not just going to be like, oh, well, they like this group. Oh, okay, Chinese government, let's be open then. They don't do stuff just because people want it. You got to have influence, you got to have money, you have to know the right people. Maybe you have to blackmail people. I don't know. Whatever it takes, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, they don't do that stuff because people want it.
Yeah.
No, they're not a democracy.
It's not going to be like... Because even as popular as BTS is, and I think there's tons of Chinese fans that like BTS, they're still the band. So it's like they can't really...
Really? Are they banned?
I don't think they're banned, but from what it sounded like...
I thought they had relationships in China and stuff.
It sounded like this Hallyu thing is like, okay, well, K-pop groups can't do much promotion in China.
It's restricted in
Like,
some
I
way.
don't know exactly what that entails, but even though, like, I'm sure they have tons of BTS fans in China, that didn't change
Right.
anything, you know?
Right.
So I think, okay, Soo Man, if you want this to happen, you need to, find some people in power and, do what you got to
Right.
do.
Yep. Good luck, dude. Good luck dealing with China.
Thank you to our guest, Morgan. You can find BTS Happy Hour on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, Castbox, Deezer, Listen Notes, and iHeartRadio. New episodes weekly. To support the podcast, please comment and share on social media, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, or give us a rating on your podcast app. Follow BTS Happy Hour on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. There's a Facebook page, and we also just started a Facebook group. You can also go to the website at btshappyhour.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for additional content. Until next time, this has been the BTS Happy Hour. Thanks for listening, and remember, make every hour a happy one.